If y'all haven't seen our first recap of Secret Society 1, then go ahead and watch it. It's real good. But basically what had happened was there were these two fine women who were dating a bunch of men and getting paid for it. They met two brothers, James and Khalil, who found out that they was actually men before. Yes, you heard that right. Celeste was known as Charles, and Tina was known as Troy before they transitioned. Both were still fully equipped with their biological parts, so we were all confused on how they were able to keep that a secret. And it was a big secret.
But the truth is I was born a boy.
And I do have male body parts.
Unfortunately, Khalil had killed Tina and shot Celeste. Celeste was lucky enough to survive, and so that leads us to the Shequel. Celeste faced a lot of difficulties in life, but she managed to get through them because she had her best friend, Tina, by her side. She fell in love and was loved back, only for her to lose that man when he was killed. Then when everything was going well, her best friend was shot and killed. A few days after Tina died, Celeste receives a call from her ex, Michael. But Michael doesn't want to console her. Instead, he's disappointed that Celeste is still alive.
Matter of fact, why don't you dig a hole next to where she's buried and throw yourself in?
He is still furious at her for hiding the fact that she's trans while being in a relationship with him. Heartbroken by Michael's words, Celeste tries to take her own life. Luckily, she's rushed to the hospital and survives. In her loneliness, Celeste keeps seeing Tina's ghost. And even as a ghost, Tina is fine and beaded with the largest pearl necklace I've ever seen. Soon, Celeste becomes friends with the nurse who looks after her. The nurse, who is also trans, encourages Celeste to start her eggplant removal surgery. After she's fully transitioned, Celeste is also given a dilator so she can keep putting it in her new hole. She is advised to be consistent because the hole is not going to stay open. To keep the channel clean, think of it as keeping your ears pierced. The nurse says even she has to do exactly that to keep it open, but she got a man to keep her ears pierced. While Celeste is at rock bottom, Tina's ghost tells her to sell the house and move forward with her life.
And get back outside. It's still hunting season.
So Celeste does exactly that. Using the money from the sale, Celeste goes shopping and pays the $36,000 shopping bill she has. The cashier is so shocked, and she asks Celeste how she makes that much money. So Celeste admits.
I run G on niggas.
The cashier named Cece remains unfazed and wants to join Celeste. Celeste tells Cece to DM her when Cece quits her day job. So just like that, Cece tells a customer to find someone else to ring them up. And the customer is like,
Well, wait a minute, can I get the DM too?
That day, Celeste officially finds a new friend. She initially wants to pimp Cece, but after listening to Cece's life story, Celeste decides she really wants to help her live a better life. Cece admits she's Dominican and has some Asian in her, but really she's about to have all kinds of ethnicities inside her. Lucky for both of them, Cece is a fast learner. Even Celeste is surprised to see Cece eagerly and quickly learning the tricks of the game. 4 months in, and the two of them are already partying with celebrities. Kind of outfit and wig is that? Eventually, they find themselves in an auction surrounded by more rich men. Wearing a $1 bill is definitely a choice. And is that a golden cat on Cece's shoulder? A few months later, Celeste is dating an actor named Sean Simon. Because of the exposure in the industry, Cece lands a modeling contract, and Celeste is a rising star in her own right. Everything is going well, and money is flowing in just fine. Michael, who is now dating a new woman, sees Celeste on a talk show.
I love her too.
Then Celeste and Cece are both invited to present at an award show. While getting ready, Celeste's publicist, Vicky, tells them they need to get ready quick because the award show is about to start. Vicky tells her male look-alike to get a hold of Cece, who is running late. Even Khalil is watching the award show from prison, and he is pissed that Celeste is doing well. Khalil is literally playing himself. Another prisoner, Chatman, is also angry while seeing the coverage of the award show. But for Chatman, the problem is Cece. Because their enemies are friends, Chatman and Khalil agree to work together to get revenge. During one party, Sean surprises Celeste with a proposal. Celeste is worried at first that Sean will find out her secret, but she loves him enough to say yes. Overjoyed, Sean also asks Celeste to marry him that night in front of their friends. Celeste imagines Tina giving her the go-ahead, so she marries Sean that night. Because Celeste is not used to getting her Ears pierced, it takes her and Sean 3 times to get it right. She even lies and tells Sean that she's never been popped. The next day, however, Celeste receives a call from Khalil, demanding to be paid 20 grand in 7 days in exchange for keeping her secret.
See, I would say you grew a pair of balls, but we both know you had them the whole time.
Celeste is devastated and doesn't know what to do. In a state of panic, she leaves the house when she hears Sean about to come in. When Sean realizes that Celeste is gone, he immediately calls Cece. Then he calls the police and reports that his wife has been kidnapped. Cece ends up finding Celeste in her previous apartment, and Celeste says she got cold feet after the wedding. Sean knocks a little later, but Celeste doesn't open the door and waits until he leaves. Knowing that Sean will come back, Cece tells Celeste they have to move. So she takes Celeste to an underground bunker owned by a rich person she used to dog sit for. Soon enough, the story about Celeste's disappearance goes viral. Even entertainment blogs start to post stories about the secret of her identity. In her desperation, Celeste talks to Tina's ghost again. Tina tells her that it's time to tell Cece the truth to see if she'll remain loyal. So Celeste finally tells Cece her secret. Cece asks,
Can I see? Too nosy. How would you feel if somebody randomly asked to see your
when Cece swears to stand by her side no matter what, Celeste gets the courage to contact her publicist. She tells Vicky that she's trans, and Vicky advises her to stay put while she comes up with a solution. But Sean suddenly calls Vicky, demanding an explanation. Sean has read the blogs, and the rumors of Celeste being trans is bothering him so much. Vicky promises to call back after she talks to Celeste, but she refuses to deny the rumors, even while talking to Sean. Sean grabs a gun and thinks his life is ruined. Then the next thing Vicky hears is a gunshot. When Vicky visits Celeste, she delivers devastating news. Sean is dead. Sorry, but Celeste's melons are hypnotizing me. It's only been less than 72 hours since Sean married Celeste. Even Michael has seen the news. Meanwhile, Khalil calls again to demand some payment. Vicky and Cece blame him for what happened to Sean. Khalil warns Celeste that he hasn't told everything to the press, but will if Celeste fails to pay him soon. Cece advises Celeste to just pay the man so they can be rid of him. But Tina's ghost keeps whispering to Celeste, telling her that Khalil will not stop asking for money. She also says that Khalil is not bluffing when he says he'll reveal Celeste's secrets. So Tina's solution is for Khalil to die. Celeste calls Tina's friend from Philadelphia, the one who used to run errands for her before. Celeste is clear. She wants Khalil dead. However, the middleman is asking for 20 grand to get the job done, and Celeste kinda broke now. Getting tired of the conversation, Tina tells Celeste to ask for money from Derek. Cece also advises her to fly to Philadelphia to pay the middleman in cash. Vicky says,
Can't she even send it like Zelle or Cash App?
but this is the only way it's not going to be traced back to Celeste. So Celeste visits Derek and asks for money. Honestly, should have hopped on that rich white D just to grab that bag. Derek also wants Khalil dead after what he did to Tina. Celeste promises that if things go south, she'll never mention Derek and get him in trouble. Then Derek's new woman, Sasha, walks in and introduces herself, but Celeste says,
And you must be crazy.
annoyed that Derek has already moved on. She talks to Tina's ghost again, and both Derek and Sasha don't know who Celeste is talking to. Soon after, Celeste flies to meet Tina's friend and pay her in cash. A phone call is made afterwards, and the middleman gives the signal to her buddy in prison. Later that night, the woman with a busted wig seduces the guard and gets him to turn off the security cameras. Afterward, the woman kills Khalil herself. Meanwhile, Tina's friend says,
As you coming in here looking like Rihanna, you gotta turn that drip down, baby. Niggas will rob you for your designer shoes to that lace front on your head.
ain't nobody want that mullet wig. With Celeste's name is still all over the news. She's being bombarded with criticisms and hate comments. Even Nikita Dragon is pointing out that Celeste's lies have a direct impact on the image of trans people. But Nikita's image has already negatively impacted the trans community. Vicky and Cece don't understand why the issue is still going viral online, even after Khalil died. They suspect that Khalil must have contacted the press before he was killed. James is shocked when he sees the death of his brother on the news. No lie, but James is fine doing that exercise. Because the issue doesn't seem to be going away soon, Vicky advises Celeste to hide from the press. Suddenly, Celeste receives a call from her mother. She didn't change her number all these years, hoping that her mother would reach out to her one day. So when Celeste hears her mother's voice on the line telling her to come home, she's overjoyed. Her mother is worried about her safety and tells her to visit her immediately. When Celeste arrives, she only gets to hug her mother for a short while before the authorities show up. Her mother has ratted her out. I knew not to trust Vivica A. Celeste is taken to the station for questioning. Lucky for her, even before the detectives begin, the person who killed Khalil already confessed to the crime. So, Celeste is free to go. Right after that, Celeste releases an official statement apologizing for the problem she caused. She also demands that everyone accepts her for who she is, and she wants the same acceptance for all the members of the community. On their way out, Celeste and her friends are all confident that their problems are now gone. However, Chatman shows up and starts shooting at them. Vicky gets shot in the chest and her assistant tells Cece and Celeste to leave before anyone sees them. While Vicky is rushed to the hospital, Celeste drives away with Cece. Celeste thinks that Khalil must have ordered someone in prison to finish the job. So Cece finally reveals that Chatman came for her. It turns out that Chatman killed Cece's father and took her from her family. Then Chatman raised Cece and pimped her out. Cece contacted the authorities and reported Chatman. It turns out that Chatman trafficked young girls, and the authorities wanted to lock him up for good. Worried that Chatman will look for her, Cece calls her friend Andrew. Andrew is in Italy, and he's more than willing to help Cece out. So, even though Cece doesn't want to leave Celeste, especially now that Vicky is dead, she doesn't have a choice but to say goodbye. After seeing the news, Celeste's mother tries to reach out to her and apologize. But Derek gets to talk to Celeste first. He offers her a place to stay where he knows she'll be safe. When Celeste arrives, she sees Michael there waiting for her. Michael admits that he still loves Celeste's D, and he wants to make sure that she's safe. Just then, James arrives carrying a gun. He says that Khalil told him that if something bad happened to him, there would be no one else to blame but Celeste. Now, Celeste realizes that Khalil was the one who was talking to the entertainment magazines. But with Tina's help, Celeste finds Derek's gun on the couch. Using that, she shoots James dead. Then she lets Derek and Michael take care of the body while she rushes to catch the private jet that Cece is taking to Italy. She tells Cece that if they leave together, Cece will also be getting in trouble with the law. Still, Cece says she'll stand by Celeste no matter what. Now that Celeste has a new best friend, Tina's ghost thinks it's time to finally say goodbye. She promises Celeste that they will see each other someday. And with that, Celeste leaves the country to start a new life with her new best friend. Y'all, this one was crazy. It had so many moving parts, if you know what I mean. Apparently there's a third installment. Should I cover it? And what did you guys think of this one?
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. And if you would like to watch more foolishness, click here or here.